For this video, I printed the pattern on a regular piece of paper and overlaid it with an adhesive lamination sheet. You could also print on glossy photo paper or use a piece of plexiglass to keep the paper from sticking to the filament. I'll provide a link to the pattern and any products I use in the description box. Once I get the first layer down, I'm going to build up just the middle so the final layer will be rounder. And when I'm happy with the thickness of the middle, I'm going to put my top layer on by spanning all the way across, and that will kind of smooth all the layers out and make it look just like one solid piece again. For the feet, I'm not going to trace the outline first. I'm just going to fill it in doing one layer only. Then I'll repeat that for all the legs. For a bug to be classified as an insect, it must have 6 legs and only 6. It's definitely helpful to move the pattern around to get the best angle for your hand and for the paper and for the pen. Don't try to pull anything off of the paper until the filament is cool and hardened, because you would warp your different pieces if it is still trying to cool and set up as you're pulling them off. To create the abdomen, I'm going to use the same technique as before when I build up the layers of the center. And for each layer, I'm just going to go a little bit thinner and a little bit thinner, just kind of like a pyramid effect. And once again, when we get all those layers done and the height is how tall you would want it, you're just going to span all the way across to make it look smooth and cohesive. I was able to find some glow-in-the-dark filament, which is actually really neat because fireflies in real life are bioluminescent, which means they have a chemical reaction that actually enables them to glow in the dark. Another fun fact is there are 120 different species of firefly in North America and 2,400 around the world. They are on every continent except for Antarctica. When I get to the antennas, I'm going to do 2 layers over the antenna and be very careful not to get burned by the hot filament if you're going to touch it with your hands before it cools. Before I remove the body from the pattern, I'm going to attach the legs to the thorax. All insects have 3 body segments. The thorax is in the middle. I'm going to hold the legs in place, then weld them with a little bit of the filament. You could also put some filament down first, and while it's still really hot, push the legs on. You have to work really quickly if you're going to use that method, or else it will harden too much before you're able to get the legs pushed on. And sometimes the heat will soften the legs like it is here, and you have to hold them in place till the plastic cools again. And if you make a mess, just like I did, just clip it off. You can use scissors or whatever type of clippers you have. Once those cools are in place, I'm just using that moldable time to make sure all the legs are flat and that he'll stand up straight. I'm going to use the same method as before to make his top half round by filling in a few layers before I go over top of them. And while I still have this color that I've used for his head and his body, I'm going to attach his antenna and his wings. If you use a different color for this, they're going to look a little bit funny, so I like to use the exact same color that I used for the body and the head there. The antenna just uses a tiny little bit of filament to put in place, so you don't have to hold it for too long. But the wings you will have to hold for a very long time, so they'll stay in place as that filament cools. You have to remember the video here is sped up about 2.5 times faster than what I'm actually doing in real time. And so those wings will sag as the filament cools, and it does take a while, so just be patient and hold them in place. I put a little paper to hold it because I was a little too impatient. And the very final step is to add some eyes, and the little firefly will be complete. It took me a little while to make sure they were the same size, but it's a very fun, quick little project. Overall, it should take about 15 to 20 minutes. And enjoy your bug.